Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Tuesdays, always loaded here for the next 3 hours. We have Adam Chernoff coming up in 30 minutes. Best bets for Week 11, NFL, Paul Stone, college football. How about this? Sports Betting Hall of Famer, longtime Vegas odds maker Richie Bachelari on the program in 90 minutes. Little college basketball action tonight.
Top 5 Tuesday, too. I want his top 5 Led Zeppelin songs. Absolutely.
And he will laugh at me when I tell him on the air that I went to Seattle to watch Metallica on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, we're going to give it to him.
It's the worst take I've ever heard from any odds maker I've ever talked to. He hates Metallica.
Yep, strong.
And Derek Stevens in studio as well. It's almost...
Kick him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Metallica's in the Hall of Fame.
How do you get in with that resume? So it's almost funny that we started a segment yesterday called Grow Up Air, right? Where are your guts? Show me your onions. Come on.
Guts!
Sean McVay last night, are you serious with this? 2 things that he did in the game. And by the way, what did we even watch last night? I don't even, looking at the screen for 3 hours, I'm like, I don't even know if this is football or not. So anyway, they couldn't score a touchdown. It was completely sloppy. There are sacks left and right, turnovers galore. Mm-hmm. He kicked a field goal on 4th and goal at the 4, down 20-9. Okay, you want to cut it to 1 score. I get it. You haven't scored a touchdown all night, pal. Are you going to have a better opportunity to score a touchdown than 4th and goal at the 4-yard line? Probably not. Also, gets the ball back. They are at the Miami 15 with 1 minute and 11 seconds left, trailing 23-12. He ran the football. Sean, you totally lost me, pal. Mm-hmm. What was that?
Weird game. Such a weird game. Every time a team had a nice drive, there was the sack, and it would not, and then it'd be all of a sudden it's like 2nd and a mile, and then you got to kick the field goal. So and then where's this Miami defense been all year? Right? They were great, making plays all over, running around. I mean, but Puka has a good game. Kupp has a big game, and you can't score a touchdown. But that's also when we're sitting around, hopefully, at 85 years old, we'll be thinking, yeah, that's right. This team, somehow they won a Super Bowl. Somehow Stafford won a Super Bowl, and McVay got it done with some of the bizarre play calling and what happened. It was just a fluke year as a 4 seed, and they upset Tampa and got the NFC title game at home and the Super Bowl at home. It was nuts.
They sold their souls that year.
Yeah, right.
Is what they did. And traded all their picks, and they had superstars on the team, and all the bounces went their way. So you have futures on Miami.
I got a shot.
Okay. You have a pulse today, right?
I do. The schedule's doable, right? You haven't played the Jets yet. You have the Raiders at home. You play the Patriots.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they can't beat Houston or Cleveland or even San Francisco probably at home. Not going to happen. But still, if that defense shows up and McDaniel doesn't lose his mind, which is a big if, I have weapons. You saw the creativity. That team can make the playoffs, absolutely.
They're like 2 games right now out of the wild card in the AFC. We should, in theory, and I get it has not been a great year for big favorites. At least it wasn't early on in the season winning these games outright. But we should see some sort of a winning streak right now by the Dolphins. Raiders now this Sunday, although it's a terrible spot for Miami, as we talked about on the show. They're laying 8 in that game. The Pats are going to be tricky because of Drake May, but they should probably win that game. Can they go to Lambeau Thanksgiving night and beat Green Bay? Who knows?
You never know.
That could be Malik Willis.
That's true.
I don't know.
Does the weather cooperate? That's another one. So with the win, they are plus 350 to make the playoffs. And a lot of it has to do with the bottom of the AFC is vile and nasty. And who's going to get the 7th seed? Yeah. The Rams, with that costly loss, are now 4-1. So the Rams are up against it and really hurt themselves with that loss because they have a tough schedule to close.
Well, that was so awkward, right? Because Nakua and Kupp were back. Williams has been a machine all year long, scoring touchdowns and putting up good numbers at running back. They got offensive linemen back in the game last night, and it's as if they never practiced for the game at all.
Yep.
Now, credit Miami for looking good on the defensive side of the ball anyway, but, boy, that was a lousy performance, I want to say, on both sides, but Miami's defense was pretty damn good, and Miami actually could be on a winning streak right now. They easily could have defeated Buffalo last week, and they pissed that game away against Arizona.
Absolutely, those are big. You couldn't be the Colts up 10-0 with Huntley. You blew that game,
right?
So, it was just the other thing. I completely whiffed on everything. I mean, how about Achane with a catch to start the game, but it was a 5-yard loss.
Oh,
so the props put you in a hole, right?
No question.
What happened? So I didn't expect that type of game, but Stafford went well over his yards, but kicking all these field goals. And the Achane stuff couldn't get there. Smith only had 3 receptions.
Yeah, that was no good.
The one thing that came in was Stafford under again. Every Stafford game, he's gone under his rushing yards.
Yeah, it's a half a yard every single Sunday, and he can't go over it. That was an under player's dream, right? When under players, they fire on player props in the game and alternate stuff, whatever. They just want nothing to happen. You were in heaven last night watching that. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of person that was enjoying the 3 hours. And so I bet some positive props last night. It was no good for me. But that is now, remember we talked about this, in prime time, both of these teams are on a staggering run to the under.
Yeah.
And that game basically had no chance to go over last night.
Yeah.
What are you expecting tonight? What would shock you the most tonight, college football, as we get week 2 of their ratings? I read up a lot on this today. I think I got one that's going to throw people for a loop.
I think a big precipitous drop by Miami. Do they really penalize Miami for that loss? Because there was a lot of close calls, a lot of Houdini act, right? You saw what they did to BYU. They still don't respect BYU. They came in at number 9. Do they really drop the hammer on Miami?
So then which 4 teams will get the bye?
Yeah, because with that seeding, you're right.
They have to do
Isn't SMU ahead of them?
I think
Would
they
you take
they technically are.
Yeah, they haven't lost a conference game.
So it'll be tonight. It probably will be SMU in the top 4.
Yes.
They won't. There's no way they'll put Boise there at this point. Maybe when it plays out, when it's all said and done, they could put Boise in the top 4. And in fact, they'll have to if they're rated higher than like the ACC or the Big 12 champion.
Okay, what do you have?
Here's what I think is going to happen. When you look at, and I've read again multiple stories on this tonight, when you look at the U.S. LBM coaches poll, it is conducted weekly throughout the regular season using a panel of head coaches at football bowl subdivision schools. The panel is chosen by random draw, conference by conference plus independents, from a pool of coaches who have indicated to the American Football Coaches Association their willingness to participate. So if you use that poll going into the committee rankings tonight, the back end of it looks like this: Alabama 9, Georgia 10, Ole Miss 11, then Miami 12, SMU and Boise State are tied at 13 apiece. Even though Ole Miss just took Georgia behind the woodshed, my boldest prediction is tonight, Ole Miss will not be in the top 12 because you can't have them ahead of Boise right now because somebody's got to get in from the group of 5.
Yeah.
You can't have them ahead of both Miami and SMU because somebody's going to win the ACC. So that team's going to be ahead of Ole Miss. And the reason why I still think they're going to be ahead of Georgia, even though they just killed them, is because I believe overall, and they probably should do this, the committee will tell us that Georgia's resume from top to bottom is much better than Ole Miss's. And I think that's the way it's going to play out for tonight only. But also at the same time, I will tell you, if you're holding an Ole Miss future ticket like I am, don't panic because it should all play out as long as they win the rest of their games, because automatically next week, Ole Miss will be ahead of the loser of Tennessee and Georgia this week.
Yep, Ole Miss, $4 favorite to make it. So was Alabama. And Alabama has a great resume, even though they lost to Vandy. But I see ESPN and Heather Dinich already working it hard about I wouldn't rule out a 3-loss SEC team because still you could have 6-7 teams with 2 losses. And then you scenario where what if Alabama makes the SEC title game and they lose? Would they still take Alabama, who have all these top 25 wins? But if you're going to have a 6 or 7-way tie, how are you? Because you're getting 4 from the Big Ten. They're taking 11-1 Indiana, unless they lose by 50.
Oh,
right?
imagine if they don't.
See that because if you look at the polls, 4 of the top 5 are all Big Ten teams: Notre Dame, Boise, and then do we get 1 from the Big 12 and 1 from the ACC? It looks like BYU is going to lose a game here, and then if they're undefeated going in the title game, would they take 12-1 BYU? I don't know. I don't think so. That's where we're at though. But it's like you can't. I don't see a path for that many SEC teams.
So are they going to make their case for a 9-3 SEC team over 12-1 BYU if they lose in the Big 12 title game 21-20? Is that really going to happen?
I don't know.
I bet it does.
You think so?
They're already starting it.
Yeah,
so
Look, we're in November and they're already starting this 3-loss crap.
I got another one.
Like,
so when you look at the standings, I just pointed out Texas is number 3.
Yes.
If they lose at Texas A&M and they finish 10-2 on the year, show me the good win.
Come on. It's a horrible resume.
Are they in?
It's a horrible resume. Absolutely.
I don't think you can put them in.
I know. I'm with you. That's a big price, too. They're a big favorite to make the playoff.
Yeah, exactly right.
And we never envisioned a scenario, especially a couple weeks ago, that Texas A&M could play Alabama in the SEC title game. That's very much in play.
And both teams would be 10-2 under that scenario?
Yeah, and Texas has nothing on the resume. You're right. They lose to A&M. There's nothing on the resume. Nothing.
So then does a 10-3 team, the loser of that game, get in? Especially if A&M beats Texas and then A&M loses to Alabama, they wouldn't take them at 10-3?
Oh boy.
Do we have to expand?
I know. Yeah, I know. It's just with the Notre Dame getting in, and maybe they lose to USC, but with Notre Dame getting in, it's hard, and 4 from the Big Ten. If they're going to have to pray something wonky happens in the ACC and the Big 12.
Well, what they need to happen is for Notre Dame to lose a game. I don't think that's happening.
I don't either.
So, by the way, look at the drop in Miami's odds to win the title. I mean, there is no 40-1. They're probably higher than that at some spots. And I would you run out and bet that number?
I can't stop anything.
They might lose to Syracuse in a couple weeks.
They could. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not going to like them, even if they're 11-1 and it's them against SMU. You're going to like Miami to win the game?
Yep. Oh, I haven't been able to stop anything all year.
Nope. Huge problem. Win some, lose some is up next, and Top 5 Tuesday makes its return. It's extremely difficult ranking his top 5 flicks. We'll try to hash it out next here on VSiN.
Coming up Tuesday on Follow the Money, Derek Stevens, owner of Circa, on Circa Survivor. Also, we'll talk to Paul Stone, college football picks. Adam Chernoff, Week 11 in the NFL, picks and props. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Molly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Not a lot happened, but one big ticket that cashed. Washington first touchdown, 35-1. Who had that? Stafford under rushing prop, now 9-0. Association, Clippers from 10 down to 6.5. Cavs win again. 8th team in NBA history to start the season 12-0. Longest since 2015. The franchise record, 13-0. A prop later in the show that I absolutely love on the Cavs, which I can't believe the price. And they take on the Sixers tomorrow. College hoops, Mercer DePaul over, 152.5 up to 157.5, 95-64. Tennessee Chattanooga, Austin P over, 152.5. Under 152.5 down to 147.5, 67-61. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Thanks to the gentleman who sent this in. The dog does this every day. He goes for a walk, and then at the lake, he plays fetch. He puts the ball in the water, and then it goes down the stream, and then he runs back, grabs it, brings it back, puts it back in the water.
That's brilliant.
How smart is this guy to figure it out? His own personal fetch. And he looks at it, he just runs down, goes back in the water. Okay, grab the ball. Okay, put it in. And then the current takes it back down, right? Grab it again.
Time of his life.
That's excellent. Yeah, that is awesome. What a smart guy. And this guy, it took him a while, but he figured it out, right? He's laying on the couch with his buddy. And he's biting his tail. And the owner's like, hey, he's biting your tail. Like, what's that? And he looks over, he's like, oh, yeah, yes. And finally the reaction. But will you knock that off? I was wondering what that was.
I forgot. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, right. Suddenly he's like, okay, I'm sorry. Right. Like the whole time he's biting the guy's tail, and the owner had to say something, right? This is called This Is My Style. What a unique way to chill and lay down and take a nap. The dog goes up like a human kind of, but he's got his belly and his feet are up pointing toward the top of the chair. And he does it on the couch, too, where he does it. Same setup, where he's on the chair outside, and that's how he lays down. Got to hurt the back, I would think.
How do you do that? Yeah, exactly right.
I don't know, yeah. Lose some. Washington, Houston over, 227 up to 231. In the association, no good. Eastern Washington, Missouri under, 156.5 down to 152, 84-77. Marshall over, 148.5 up to 154, 77-63. Yale, Purdue under, 148 down to 144. How about 92-84? No way. One bad beat. Puka could have 100 yards plus 290. 2 yards short. Doesn't get there. No. So many sports in action. No better time to put the VSiN experts to work for you. Every best bet, every host, every guest. 19 hours of live programming. All the betting splits and the power ratings and the Mackin and betting systems. VSiN.com/subscribe. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's a top.
You ain't first. You're last.
5.
That's not enough, Dad!
Tuesday.
I've been ready for this my whole life.
Top 5 Tuesday.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Follow the money.
Yeah. Top 5 Brad Pitt movies. Last week we told the story. 1999, he's at the premiere of Fight Club, and it was booed hard at the film festival. He looked over to Edward Norton and said, this is the best movie I'm ever going to be in. Well, he's almost there. So what a resume. I go 7, number 1. Fight Club, number 2. The Big Short, number 3. So good, I watched it, and then I watched it the next day. It was so good. What'd you say? You're rooting for the guys, even though you know what's going to happen.
Absolutely,
right?
You are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Great cast. Inglourious Bastards, number 4. Killing Nazis. Number 5. I'm not objective on this. It's because I'm in the movie, but it's a good movie. He's got some other pictures, but moving to
Vegas. It's very rewatchable, and it's a lot of fun.
That's right. And I'm in the scene with Julia Roberts, and as a kid from Minnesota coming out at the young age of 22, 23, and to be in a scene with Clooney
at the Bellagio
and Julia Roberts. Yeah, I have to have it at number 5. Well, that's my top 5, and then we'll dissect it after.
Okay, so here's what I have to say going into my top 5. I honestly would have True Romance number 1 overall. That's the best movie he's ever been in. The problem is he's not in it. He's not in it long enough.
He's in like 2 scenes.
That's it. So I can't qualify that.
Okay.
I have to use what's his best role / best movie, and this is very difficult because I have 9 movies that could be in the top 5, and I could listen to arguments with this. but my top 5, his best role, in my opinion, and it's also a very good movie, is Fight Club. Name me a better role that he has done in his life than Tyler Durden.
Yeah, can't do it.
He's incredible.
Right.
That's an A+ performance out of him.
He got the Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but Durden's a better character
No
and performance.
question.
Yeah.
I have The Big Short, number 2 overall. This is no hyperbole. It might be my favorite movie this century. I've seen it 10 times at least. I love it. I try to watch it every single year. But he has a bigger role than like True Romance. But overall, the acting and the fact that we all lived through the housing crisis and you were rooting for the guys and you knew what was going to happen, that's incredible to me. 3-7, so good. Number 4, Bastards as well. The reason why Bastards is not higher for me is that I'm not a big fan of subtitles. They give me headaches.
Yeah.
And some of the scenes, it's Tarantino personified. Some of the scenes are 45 minutes.
The scene at the bar in the basement.
In the basement.
Wow.
How about right away when Christoph Waltz?
Yeah, that's a great
Go to the
performance.
house.
Yeah.
They shoot the basement. And then Ocean's 11, also number 5.
Okay, Snatch, great movie, great performance. But it's a top 5. That's why it's hard. He's unbelievable. He was nominated. He was awesome in 12 Monkeys. I mentioned Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was great in Troy. I haven't seen Babel, Benjamin Button, Jesse James, 7 Years in Tibet, and Meet Joe Black. Haven't seen them. So I'm sure they're on there too, and a lot of those were highly acclaimed. Ad Astra too.
Supposed to be a good one.
Luke said Ad Astra was good too. The guy's got an incredible resume.
I'm with you. I also have failed to watch any of those movies, and I have never seen Spy Game. We got a big response on him saying Spy Game is like top 5.
Now that came out. I wrote that down. Spy Game, the Mexican, and Ocean's 11. He all did in the same year.
In the same year, like 2001. Something like that?
2000, I think so. Yeah, 2003, 1, something like that.
Regardless, I had no idea when you brought this up because I'm the first one who saw like the Fight Club thing, right? And I'm like, hey, this is kind of fun. But I never had any idea that ranking his top 5 movies would be this difficult. Mm-hmm. You could absolutely argue Snatch is in there.
Fury?
Yep. A River Runs Through It is excellent. Uh-huh. That's his early days. Moneyball is one of the best sports movies of all time, in my opinion.
Moneyball. Yeah.
That's great. Legends of the Fall, California.
Yep.
I've never seen Meet Joe Black, so I can't comment. And also, Bullet Train is awesome for like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I love Bullet Train. Very good movie. He was excellent in Bullet Train. Loved it.
It's actually, this is how good the resume is. Again, I'm blindsided by this. It's tough to rank as top 10.
Yeah.
Forget top 5.
And then I was watching Bill Maher Friday, and Michael Douglas was on.
Okay.
There's another one.
Oh,
good luck with him.
I know.
Good luck with Michael Douglas.
That's exactly right.
He's been around for a long time. But this is, I would say, Pitt's more difficult than Michael Douglas. It's, oh, man, tough.
Think he's more difficult than Tom Cruise?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it.
Cruise has an incredible, lengthy resume as well. By the way, the trailer's out for the next Mission Impossible. Mm-hmm. How is that not an A+?
Has all the makings.
Yep.
A movie that I thought I was expecting more. It wasn't good, but I liked his performance, was The Counselor. You ever see The Counselor? Fassbender's in it. Javier Bardem.
I have.
Penelope
I did see
Cruz.
that. Yes. Yeah. I totally forgot about that movie.
Yeah. Balaba or something. They put the thing around his neck on the street.
Yep.
Baluba.
What does your gut say? Better resume, Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio? There's a top 5 I don't think I could touch.
I think Pitt has a stronger resume.
Oh, boy. I don't know how you'd rank DiCaprio's top 5. It's stellar movie after stellar movie.
Yeah. How he didn't win for Wolf of Wall Street was a crime.
Yeah?
Yeah, that is tough. Good.
FTM at VSiN.com is the email. You can hit us up on X as well, at VSiN Live, and Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard, to rank your top 5. Adam Chernoff's coming up, by the way, in about 5 minutes. We'll get to best bets in Week 11 in the National Football League. Did you notice anything with the odds, by the way, regarding the College Football Playoff Committee or moving forward? There are some big prices on the no, right, on teams to miss the playoff.
Indiana took a big jump for beating Michigan because it's like, okay, well, you play Ohio State. Most people have them number 1 or number 2, so it's not going to kill you if you lose, and then you close with Purdue. So even though there's not much on the resume, it's and a Big Ten team that's 11-1.
Right. What if that's 31-3 Ohio State? Are they out?
No, I don't think it matters. I still think it's because it's the Big Ten. And remember, they did this. This has to go well for us. If we're going to play ball and we're going to do this, the Big Ten and the SEC want to get their way.
Will that matter to the committee?
Well, it better. If they want to keep this going. They're saying we're going to take our ball and go home. You wouldn't want that.
All right, we'll hit NFL Week 11 coming up next. Some tremendous matchups. Adam Chernoff joins the program, and he has an opinion on a lot of the marquee games. Find out who he likes next year on VSiN.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NFL here, week number 11, as Adam Chernoff joins the program now. He is with Right Angle Sports. His podcast is called The Simple Handicap, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Adam, as always, pleasure. Thanks for the time today. We appreciate that. Let's begin with a game between two teams in the NFC North coming up on Sunday. Packers off the bye, going to Chicago to play whatever this is with the Bears that we've watched now in the last couple of weeks. They reopened. So think about this for a second. The look ahead last week was Green Bay minus 2.5. Oh, and after another train wreck by the Bears, they reopened 6.5. Now I'm seeing some buyback here at FanDuel. Looks like the Packers are down to 5.5 here at Circa, and other spots are at 6. What do you make of this just disaster going on right now in Chicago?
I thought you were going to put me on the spot with Brad Pitt questions to start. I was a little bit concerned coming out of last segment, so I'm glad we're starting here. Hey, should we start with the coaching changes and some of the switches going on? Is that a good place to go?
I think so, yeah.
So last year, if you guys remember, was pretty excited for the change for Thomas Brown in Carolina, especially in that one game, and that initial bump was one of the bigger spots that I bet last year. He kind of proved to be very underwhelming, I would say, is a nice way to put it, with Carolina. I wouldn't say that he was fully in charge of the development of Bryce Young last year, but the expectation was, with his background coming from working with McVay and the Rams, that was going to translate over, and you would have seen a lift in Carolina last year. How much was him failing to do that versus how much was just a bad spot in Carolina last year? I don't know. But now with him taking over play calling duties in Chicago, I don't think he's in that much of a better spot given the current state of the Bears. Before we even get to Williams, you have all these O-line injuries, and you have this clear evidence that there's a level of quit being shown on the field from both sides. So I don't know if you're getting a big lift here in this kind of new coach, new play caller bump spot that typically it shows, because there's so many other issues going on with the Bears. And this number is really reflecting that, up to, as you mentioned, 6 right now, and we've seen a little bit of a buyback. But, I mean, this is absolute peak pricing for what you can expect from the Packers. The big question is, when you're looking at this game, is do you get any type of effort from the Bears in this rivalry spot? Every indication that we're seeing now, especially with the rumors today and the allegations that vets are calling for Williams to be benched in place of Bagent, that looks pretty concerning too. And so it's a spot where typically you want to bet into that new coaching bump, but I don't see that here at all with Thomas Brown.
Very good. Excellent picks. That's a lot of them now. And you have been excellent at recommending stuff with Buffalo. Allen, MVP before the season. I laughed. You got a great chance to cash that ticket. Late last year, when they seemed to be out of it, you said, hey, take some futures on the Bills. They can do this. They almost did, but got in the playoffs and made some noise. I'm surprised you like the Chiefs. Why do you like Kansas City?
I like Kansas City because, honestly, the way the injury report is trending for Buffalo, I believe the Chiefs have a decent chance of having the better skill position group on the field in this game. Already, Keon Coleman is going to miss. He was announced out yesterday at the McDermott presser. Kincaid, I think at best, is 50-50 to play in this game. He tried to come back last week, left with a brace. That doesn't look like a good prognosis for this week if it is a sprain. And then Amari Cooper's less than 100% dealing with the wrist injury. So you're taking 3 key guys out of this Bills offense. Potentially, I do think we see Cooper back, but there's a chance that you're without 2 great weapons. And when I think about where the Chiefs defense has been weak this season, it has been defending the tight end spot and throws over the middle of the field. And so with Kincaid and the way that the Bills offense was trending, that looked like it was going to be a great spot. And I don't know if he's going to be on the field come Sunday. And at 2.5 in this number, it reminds me a lot of what we saw against San Francisco, where the entire week the handicap was, here's San Francisco, they have the revenge spot. Kansas City's perhaps a little bit overrated. And we saw the number drift out and get right to 2.5 as it is here after the opener was shorter and it got bet up early in the week. Exact same thing is happening with Buffalo in this spot. And there's just this willingness to kind of want to pick against Kansas City that I sense just from watching other spots and seeing the market move that I just don't agree with in this spot. I'm getting 2.5 with Mahomes in this game against the Bills defense that's had it pretty easy for opposing schedule. I like the Chiefs here at plus 2.5, as I just worry about some of these Bills injuries making this offense look a little bit worse than it's being made out to be.
All right, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Adam Chernoff, he's with Right Angle Sports. His podcast is called The Simple Handicap, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. I made the comment yesterday that I actually think there are more contenders today in the AFC than I would have said, and this is with KC, like seemingly finding different ways to win every single week. Yeah, they're 9-0. Everybody's going to pick them probably come playoff time, but I don't know. I think it's open with Baltimore, Buffalo. I think I'm going to put the Chargers on that list, actually, believe it or not. Are the Steelers live? What do you make overall at the top of the AFC?
I think Kansas City clearly number one. Buffalo's your number two, right there with Baltimore. I've seen their ratings go back and forth over the whole season, so I think there's a very clear top three. My worry with Pittsburgh is we've seen a lot of boom or bust play from them since Russell Wilson has taken over. The success rate and the sustained offense that they've produced hasn't been very good, but they've hit these big explosive plays. There's making their offense look well above average and look like a big uptick with Wilson. I do wonder if that comes back down to earth a little bit as the schedule tightens up and gets a little more difficult. So I'm not necessarily buying into Pittsburgh being this, like, right up there contending to be in the top three in the AFC. What you said about the Chargers, I think makes sense because they're so well coached. What I would say about the Chargers, defensively, I mean, they've had kind of a lottery-esque schedule for the amount of opposing quarterbacks they faced who have been backups or replacements or lower tier in the NFL. So I think that's allowed this new coaching staff to get everything very comfortable. If I'm looking at teams that I believe are a little bit underrated or not playing anywhere close to their ceiling, unlike the Chargers, unlike the Steelers, two that really stand out to me are Cincinnati and the Houston Texans. We haven't seen a great Texans game in weeks.
Nope. And
we still haven't seen Cincinnati play to anywhere close to their ceiling on both sides of the football for 60 minutes in a game so far this season. And so I think those two stand out. In terms of a phony team that I'm looking at in the AFC right now hanging on to a playoff spot, I would definitely circle the Denver Broncos in that category too. They had a great game last week against Kansas City, but that's as good as you're going to see that team play on the field. May not impact them this week against a weaker opponent, but I think that's a pretty phony team come playoff time. That's kind of how I have the AFC sitting at the moment.
All right, very good. So then backing up to what you said about the Steelers, does that mean you want to fade them this week against Baltimore?
Yeah, I've played Baltimore -3, -115 in this spot. I think this is now the Ravens stepping up in class, and it's a tougher test on both sides of the football. I know they got Washington last week. Defensively, they look good, but I thought there was a lot of noise in the Washington team coming into that game. Part of the reason why we talked about the Steelers last week here on the show. And to me, this flips things around. It's Baltimore off extra time to prepare in this matchup, and it's a night and day test for this defense, which has had it pretty easy. And I just don't see them having answers for Lamar, especially now with the trio of backs healthy in the backfield for Baltimore, which gives Monken so many different options to look at. And if there's any thought process that goes into some of the game planning here, we saw the Steelers defense prep for a mobile quarterback last week in Jaden Daniels, and really on the field showed some specific looks that were able to contain him. They held Jaden Daniels to his worst game of the season. Extra time to prepare that Harbaugh and the Ravens staff, as smart as they are, very clearly we're watching that game and obviously have a ton of time to prep film-wise for that. And it's just a much different test here with Lamar and how good this Ravens offense has been. I think that kind of carries over and plays a factor into this game. And so I do like the Ravens in this game to win and cover.
Our all-new VSiN Watch app makes it easy to watch or listen to VSiN anywhere, anytime. For a limited time, watch it for free. Visit the Apple app or Google Play Store now. Download the VSiN Watch app. 24 access to our live audio and video streams, replays of your favorite shows. Easy to stream the videos to your smart TV as well. Browse clips by sport. It's awesome. The VSiN Watch app, free to download both Apple and Android. Don't delay. Get it now. VSiN Watch app. Become part of the team. Visit the Apple or Google App Store now to get it. Download it. 24/7 access.
All right, Adam's going to hang around for one more segment. He has a bunch of other plays he's going to throw out there for Week 11. I know that you're itching to get to the Brad Pitt stuff. So do you have a top 5 for him or a favorite all time?
Well, you got to go with the main co-star there sitting next to you in number one all time. I don't think that's a debate when you're looking at Paul's appearance in that one. I agree with the top 5 that you guys put out. I think Moneyball's debatable on the outside. What I will say Sat down to watch Wolves with the wife over the weekend, Saturday night.
Is it out?
We made it 38 minutes into the movie, and she says, I don't get it. We got to turn this off. First time I've seen her walk away from a movie in a long time.
Whoa.
I don't want to slander the top 5, but that was a shocker to see her check out that early from that one.
They're both hitmen?
Yeah, it was very confusing and took some weird. They tried to rekindle some humor. I wasn't into it either, to be honest.
Oh, good. All right. Fair enough. More with Adam Chernoff coming up next. I think this game is untouchable a little bit, but he has he likes a side and the total. Find out which game and his favorite bets here coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Tons of bets coming here with Adam Chernoff. Right Angle Sports podcast is called The Simple Handicap, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line as we continue to talk. Week number 11, Sunday night's a banger. Bengals playing at the Chargers. What do you want to do here? Bet the side? Bet a total? What do you think?
Yeah, awesome game. Bengals plus 1.5 over 47 for me in this one. We haven't seen the Chargers face a legitimate quarterback in a long time. Levis, Jameis, Rattler, Murray, he was great, but that was a game that was altered by some injuries. And then Knicks the week before. Those are all the QBs they faced, plus a bye in there since the Mahomes game. And so this is a defense for LA that's stepping up in class in a big way. It's both teams competing on the fringe of the AFC playoff picture. This is right around the time of the year where you see those desperation spots click in. Last year we saw kind of week 11, 12, these teams take on a much different look, especially in the second half. And anytime you have teams in this spot on the bubble with how competitive these conferences are, you see these games skew over, especially in the second halves of games. And so I think we see the Chargers really pushed here. And I mean, the Bengals are just such a great over partner, getting everyone over the total. So Bengals plus 1 over 47.
All right, you got a lot of them today. How about Atlanta, Denver? Same thing?
Similar. I think Atlanta's pretty phony right now at the moment, to be honest. They have a run of schedule against opponents that have been very soft. And they're so matchup dependent on what you get from Kirk Cousins in the pocket in this offense. And it really comes down to, can the opponent generate pressure? We haven't seen them tested in a number of weeks, and they're getting away at times with how weak their pass rush is. And so I look at this matchup with Atlanta going on the road into Denver. You know Kirk Cousins is going to be under pressure consistently by the pass rush of this Broncos team. They're blitzing at a crazy high rate, and they're getting home and causing trouble. And then on the other side, it's going to be a comfortable game for Knicks in the pocket, and it's going to be a comfortable game for the Broncos running the football on the ground, because the Falcons up front, there's just nothing there, guys. And so I think this is a spot that sets up well for Denver. Looking at the current price, -2 is the number that I would lay with the Broncos at home.
All right, this is the game I was referring to before the break. I can't touch it, but I want to hear you break down to the Browns playing the Saints this weekend.
This is the easiest decision of the week for me.
Ooh.
I know the numbers come in, but I'm looking at Cleveland +1. I think it's an easy decision for a bet to be made. I loved it Sunday night. It was bet early by other pros Monday morning. I still liked it. I messaged a couple of them. I agreed with everything that they said about the game. And this is still a spot that I like. Darren Rizzi took over as the interim head coach last week for the Saints. And there weren't honestly material differences on the field that showed up. The defense is such a problem for the Saints, and now they could be without middle linebacker Werner, matched up against this Cleveland Browns offensive line out of the bye with Chubb healthier that's going to be able to run the football. Saints haven't stopped the run all season. Browns have a clear out here. And even though the Saints got away with a win last week on the scoreboard, that box score was incredibly misleading for how one-sided it was in favor of the Falcons, who, again, just controlled the game on the ground and got whatever they want, like I think Cleveland with Jameis is going to get in this matchup too. So it's, to me, a spot where the Saints are getting overvalued because of what happened last week. I don't think Rizzi changes the course of this team for the rest of the season. It was that classic spot last week. This number just got bumped up too high. The Browns, I don't think, should be an underdog in this spot. I believe they should be a short favorite. So I'm still happy to take them here, +1 on the road.
All right, I'm easy. I'm in. That's all it took.
All right.
You like the over as well?
Over.
And the over?
Well, I was looking at the over earlier in the week. It's 44.5. It got bet off the key, unfortunately, this morning. And so it would still obviously lean that way. But at 44.5, I wouldn't be betting as I played it earlier at other numbers.
Mitch is calling for the Detroit blowout. Says they're going to kill them. Do you agree?
I do agree. And it's not typically a number that I'd be running to lay when you're looking at 13 inflated from 10 on the look ahead. It's a big number, and you're just wondering, when do the Jags bounce back? Here's my theory of what's going on with both of these teams and how it matches up in this spot. So I fully believe that the Detroit staff understands this is the last year with everyone together, because in the couple years to begin with Campbell, we saw the Lions fail to get up in these spots where they're laying big numbers. And this year it's been a complete opposite story. And so I think we know that Johnson is very likely to leave in the offseason. And now Aaron Glenn is being tied to different teams as well. And that's starting to get heightened. I think the Lions are looking at this as it's the last year together. We're all in for every single game. And we're seeing them play up to just a ridiculous level right now that I think is tempting to bet against, but they just have everything rolling right now. Now, on the other side, this is the game pre-bye for the Jags. And so everybody knows that change is coming for the Jags as well. But I'm looking at this. You have a Lions coaching staff that's clearly bought in. If Peterson knows he's on the way out, if he's going to be fired in season, it's after this game going into the bye. It's very likely another Mac Jones game for the Jags. I'm thinking about this. If the Lions are up going into the second half, Peterson knows he's on the way out, and you have a Lions staff that doesn't take their foot off the gas right now running the football against the man-front defense for the Jags that's struggling to stop anybody. That, to me, is a recipe for a team like Detroit to cover a number like this at home, and I think that's going to play out on the field. So I like them here minus 13.
All right. Are we starting to see, and have we started to see, like the real Sam Darnold now for a handful of weeks? Is this the guy that we're going to get for a majority of the rest of the year? I love the defense. I love the coaching staff. I love the weapons on offense. But, Sammy, come on. 3 INTs last week. What was that again? So they're laying 6 against Tennessee. What do you make of the number?
Yeah, I like the Titans here plus 6. And I agree with you that we're seeing the Vikings, in my opinion, hit their ceiling on both sides of the football. Awesome start to begin the year. We knew coming in that Darnold had the potential to be good, which is why we were talking about Seahawks overs in the offseason on shows here. And there's a level and a reality to hit. I mean, the Vikings at one point were top 5 in market power ratings. I mean, that was a crazy jump from where they were preseason. We're kind of just seeing that settle out, like you mentioned. Last week, did they get a little bit unlucky in terms of the red zone turnovers that could have made that game a lot more one-sided than the scoreboard showed? I think absolutely. But this is now, again, a second road game in a row. Bit of an odd spot for Minnesota. You have Darnold peaking. It's a good Titans defense that just faced Justin Herbert last week playing at an elite level. And so I do think they're able to stop the run, especially with Aaron Jones a little bit banged up. And we see this Titans defense keep them competitive. And then quietly the Titans offense, couple 400-yard games in the last few weeks. And Levis looked okay on the road against the LA Chargers. Not buying Will Levis stock, but in this particular game, I think 6 points at home is a comfortable number for them to stay inside.
This one surprises me. So a little disappointed in how the Niners looked because it was a horrible spot for Tampa and all their injuries, and Moody misses the 3 field goals. They have owned Seattle. That McDonald did send a message where they cut their leading tackler. The defense has been horrific. State your case for Seattle on the road.
Yeah, all in spot for the Seahawks coming out of the bye. This is big for Mike McDonald to get right in that first matchup. It was a short week. It was the new coaching staff. They were caught in between. I thought that was a really tough spot for them in that first meeting between the two teams. Mike McDonald, a couple years with Baltimore going into the bye, came out defensively with a lot of quirks and a lot of changes. And even in Baltimore, they were focused around the linebacker position. Not only did he make a trade pre-bye, but like you mentioned, the big cut this week. And so this is a defensive unit I think we see fully bought in. And this is a Seahawks offense coming out of the bye. They're going to get DK Metcalf back fully 100% healthy. And just the importance of this game on the road, I think we see a Seahawks team show up, unlike that first meeting, which could have been a little bit misleading because of that spot on the early week. So Seattle here plus 6.5 as a side I like. I think this could be one of the surprises this week in terms of results that maybe a lot don't see coming.
All right. Very good. You can follow Adam on X. He's at Adam Chernoff. Again, listen to his podcast called The Simple Handicap, and he's with Right Angle Sports. Excellent as always, my man. Thanks for the time. Good luck this week.
Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy week number 11.
Yep, back at you. There you go. And he was on the Progressive Guest line. A lot of picks, a lot of bets. Ravens laying 3 against Pittsburgh. Right? The one thing you're going to hear about that series is, don't they always play a 3-point game?
Yeah. The weird stuff always happens to Baltimore on the road, too. Interceptions, red zone issues, going for 2, not working out, right? So.
I honestly think that trying to figure out, because the Steelers are good.
Yeah.
How good are they? They might be the most difficult team right now to actually pinpoint where they should be and where they will end up. Because it is a really good defense, and Russ has been an improvement throwing the football over Justin Fields. But are they... I don't know. He has me questioning me now whether or not they're a contender in the AFC. Damn it. Damn you, Adam.
Well, how about the defense, though? I mean, how bad does the Monday night performance against the Giants
That's
look?
very true.
And Washington moved it on them, too.
Should I say, do you play it safe and go with the over?
Yeah, that would be playing it
Baltimore
safe.
plays like this crazy game every single week.
Yeah.
Where it's just totally bedlam and
will Jacksonville win a game with Mac Jones? Sorry.
No, God, no.
No?
No, I don't think
Dallas?
so.
Probably going to be Drew Lock now on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay.
They'll win a game. Drew Lock against Trey Lance on Thanksgiving. Book it. Is that the worst matchup in the history of Thanksgiving football?
It's up there.
Pro better Paul Stone next. We'll get his best bets in college football for the week here on VSiN.
Sports bettors, this is your chance. VSiN is bringing you an unbeatable deal. Get a VSiN Pro subscription